Hello, it's me, Mr. Egg here. Welcome to today's video. You may have heard me going on about my famous 19-day marriage. Yes, I got married and then 19 days later, divorced. My only ever marriage, and it was here in Pattaya. I'm going to show you where it started and where it ended. If you like the video, please press like and subscribe to the channel. The year is 2013. Unlucky for some, you might say, and it certainly was for me. I'd just come out of one relationship and I decided to go out for a night on the town, having a few drinks. And the best place to go to have a few drinks is Drinking Street. And Drinking Street is right up the top there. This is Soi 3, so at the top there is Second Road. That is Beach Road down there. So I'm up the top by Drinking Street and I've seen a very, very pretty girl in a bar. And I'm thinking, I'd really like to buy you a drink. So I'm asking her friends, excuse me, can I buy that girl a drink? And no. About 5 minutes later, I wouldn't like another drink, really. I'd like to buy that girl a drink. No, wouldn't have it. Wouldn't even make eye contact with me. And I've been rejected before, but this is the worst ever. So, okay, it's not going very well. I do the old aggressive check bin, throw the money down, and I'm getting angry, and so I decide to walk down here rather aggressively down Third Road looking for this beer bar complex. Now this is about 3/4 of the way down, just before you get to the A1 hotel. I'm looking around, and to be honest, it's a Sunday night, it's a bit quiet, there aren't really many nice girls, until I get just here. And just here, just before you see that tattoo sign there, there was kind of like a shelf. There was like a wooden shelf there, and there was a girl standing there leaning on the shelf, and I thought, that has got to be one of the most beautiful women that I've ever seen in my life. And I thought, okay, let's go inside. So I went inside and I was playing it really cool, went and started talking to her two friends because she was out at the front still. And eventually I said, would you two guys like a drink? Yeah. Oh, your friend as well. Can she come over and can I have a drink with her? Yeah. So she brings her over and we start chatting. And the one thing I do remember about looking at her is that she was really pretty, had this most beautiful face, but she had big dark rings under her eyes, like she'd been crying, or she was stressed out, or I don't know, she hadn't got a lot of sleep. And I looked into her eyes and I was just mesmerised, and I've got to say, Mr. Egg was in love. Bought the girls some more drinks, and then it was coming, I could feel the butterflies building up in my stomach. I've got to drop the hammer sometime, I've got to ask her. So I said, look, is there any chance you could come out with me tonight? And she goes, yeah, no problem. Goes and grabs her handbag. Bob's your uncle, I've got it. I couldn't believe it. I think one of the best looking women I've ever seen in my life. And we decide that we're going back to my pad, which just happens to be on Soi 6. So, literally, arm in arm, her and a big high stilettos, we're walking right down here to go and catch a Songtail bus, the 10-baht bus, to take us to Soi 6. Let's go. So, we've got off the BART bus there, overlooking the romantic sea, and we've come into one of the most romantic places in the whole world, Soi 6 here in Pattaya. And it's very, very bright sunshine at the moment. You've got to remember this was in the dead of night, and we crawled into this, onto these steps and into this bar here, because if you look up, not on the next floor, but the floor up with the blue curtains, that was the room where all the passion and the fashion took place that night between me and her. Usually I didn't like to do short times, but she was insistent. She says, can I stay here? It's very nice. And we were joking. She wasn't somebody that was drinking a lot. We were just sort of having a nice time and getting to know one another. In the morning, we then started to walk down there because I was going to get her onto a BART bus because she said she lived in Naklua. As we got about halfway up the street, she grabbed my phone. And I thought, what's going on? She took my phone and put her number into it and called her own number. So she had my number to save and keep. I wasn't one that usually gave away my phone number to girls. Not because I think I'm something special. It's just that, they're always just a problem, always ringing up asking for money. So she had my number. we walked up to the top here and I waved her goodbye. She was on the bus to Naklua. Well, things developed. We had a great relationship, but it all came to an end in Naklua as well. I'm just about to get on the bus and I'll show you where it all ended. So I finally made it. This, funnily enough, this building is a place where I get the license for the bar and the license for alcohol and entertainment and stuff. But it's also the place where I mentioned earlier where I got divorced. So me and Mrs. Egg, as we were then, came on a BART bus up the Sukhumvit Road, and we walked up here and we walked into this office. Now I was convinced, because of all the red tape that there is here in Thailand, that we weren't going to be able to get divorced. But when we got there, when you go inside, we can't film inside, there's like a queuing system and there's various buttons that you can press to get a queue ticket. And so there was buy land, sell land, marriage and divorce. So we pressed the divorce button, got a queue ticket, we were number one. So obviously everyone was being very romantic that day, no divorces. We went and sat down and it's, Mr. Ross, go to number one, please. So me and my wife went and sat in the front of this computer, this lady on a computer. And she was talking in Thai to my wife, soon to be ex-wife. And we gave her the marriage certificate and we gave them her ID card and my passport. And I'm sitting there and she's kind of tapping away like, you know, it's nothing. She must have about 10 divorces every day. She's tapping away. And then she looks at the dates that we got married, and it was 19 days ago. And by then she's calling all her friends over. Oi, come and have a look at this. They only got married 19 days ago and they're getting divorced. Obviously making me feel really good. Anyway, to my absolute amazement, it was rubber stamp, bang, bang, bang. And then we had to go behind the office to talk to this woman who I could only describe as a dragon. She was apparently the sort of puyai, the main person in the Ampur office. And you have to sit there, and she kind of talks in a very loud voice, because I suppose it's like a public proclamation. And she said in Thai, you two are getting divorced. Is there anybody here that says that they can't get divorced? And obviously, thankfully, nobody did. And then she says to my now ex-wife in Thai, do you want anything off him? And she said, what? And I'm going, what? And she goes, well, yeah, do you want anything off him? Do you want any money? Has he got a house? Has he got a car? What do you want? So I'm getting, I was okay to it. It was kind of a jokey thing, really. But at this point, I started to get a bit angry. And she, to a fair play to her, I mean, I suppose I'd got a little bit of money at the time. And she knew that. And she said, no, thank you. I just want to get divorced. And she then turned around to me, this woman, and she said, what visa you were on? Have you got a work permit? And I'm going, these are questions, by the way. I've been working here for 10 years. I've never ever been asked. Because the police never bother to ask you about work permits, because they know who's got one and who hasn't. So I'm getting really annoyed at this woman. Anyway, I says, no, I work here, this is my job, I've got a work permit, thank you very much. So we then come out of the door, Mr. Egg and ex-Mrs. Egg. I must have stood about here, and I watched her walking off onto the Sukhumvit Road, and she got a bus, and I started walking down the Sukhumvit Road. And I was just wondering about where my life was going to go to next. I'd got married and divorced in 19 days. And I must admit, it felt really bad. By the time we got home, she'd actually locked herself in her bedroom door and never came out for 3 days. We ended up living together for another couple of months, actually. We tried to sort of make things better, but at the end of the day, obviously the money thing had kept us apart. Of all the ex-girlfriends and bits on the side or whatever that I've ever had. She's the only one who has never been to my bar. I believe that she's married now and living in England. So best of luck to her. But this place will always have a little bit of a bittersweet memory for me. The Ampur office. Sorry, it's not really a jokey video today, but hey, it's part of my life and I hope you enjoyed it. If you did enjoy the video, please subscribe to the channel. Think about membership as well. We've got loads of extra content in the membership area and also some special live streams as well. And don't forget, we'll see you very soon for another video. But from right now, from me, Mr. Egg, it's goodbye. Bye-bye.